For the past 4 years, I've worked behind the scenes with some of your favorite creators, analyzed hundreds of personal brands, and studied thousands of videos to figure out why some people build massively successful businesses while others struggle to get noticed. And in this video, I'm giving you everything I've learned in a complete guide to help you build a future-proof personal brand in a world where AI makes content worthless and the top creators are making it impossible for you to compete by pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars into getting all the attention for themselves. So if you're a coach, an entrepreneur, or a content creator, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to stand out during the AI flood, build real authority in a trust recession, and attract high-value opportunities for years to come. Now, a few years ago, building a personal brand was pretty straightforward. Post high-quality content consistently, engage with your audience, and over time, people would learn to trust you and be interested in buying stuff from you. This worked because quality content had some weight to it. Not everyone had the skills and resources available to produce something good. But AI is making content creation way easier than it previously was, and in the next years, everyone will be able to generate perfect videos, flawless captions, and viral posts in a matter of seconds. This means that just having good content won't be enough anymore. Because when everyone can produce it, it loses its value. Diamonds are valuable because they are rare. If suddenly diamonds were as common as beach sand, nobody would care about them anymore. On top of that, everyone now realizes the value of a personal brand, and many already try to build audiences and sell products, which increases the competition. And don't get me wrong, I think competition is good. The problem is that most of these people got overconfident because AI suddenly allows them to do things they were incapable of doing in the past and flooded the market with shitty products and services that led us into a trust recession. That means the consumers got to a point where they are tired of creators pushing irresistible offers down their throats and need a lot more time to get to know you and want to buy from you. So how do you build a brand people trust without competing with AI-generated fluff and other big creators with huge teams behind them? Well, most people think that building a personal brand means getting a videographer to follow them around and aimlessly create content with the sole purpose of going viral. And unfortunately, this is how you waste thousands of dollars and valuable time, because even if you somehow manage to build a following by throwing things at a wall and hoping that they stick, you're not intentionally building a brand. This is a very important distinction. Building followers is not the same thing as building a brand, because people can follow you for the wrong reason. You can't sell a high-ticket coaching offer if you got all of your followers by posting cheap entertainment. Those people won't be interested in buying from you. They did not come on your profile to learn something new or fix a problem that they have. They just want to be entertained. I have seen countless examples of influencers who got hundreds of thousands of followers using copy-paste content that have to rely on brand deals to make a living because they cannot sell their own products. Most of these people are very good at getting views and followers, but have zero idea how to build a brand. There is zero strategic thinking in their content, and almost everything they do is trying to go viral by copying content that performed well for others. Just a few weeks ago, James Smith called out an Instagram influencer for copying one of his entire YouTube videos word for word. This guy has 500,000 Instagram followers and is now trying to sell you a mentorship to teach you how to build a personal brand. But he couldn't even make his own sales video. I guess you now understand how these people bring down the trust score in the industry. How can someone whose entire brand is copy what works, bro, teach you anything about building a brand or a business? This strategy of copying someone else's content might be helpful for you in the beginning if you at least go through the effort of analyzing and deconstructing that piece of content that you're trying to recreate and add your own spin on it. But if you're simply stealing everything and posting it as if you came up with it yourself, there's no way you can get ahead. And I will tell you exactly why later in the video, as well as how you can actually come up with original content consistently. Now, we've agreed that followers and views have become kind of a vanity metric, and most of these influencers flashing big numbers as social proof have a very shallow understanding of how to properly build a business. Some have spent years getting millions of followers only to be forced to sell their influence for pennies to other brands, which in turn makes them glorified billboards, not entrepreneurs. That might be the goal for some, but it's not the goal for me. And I don't think it should be the goal for you either, because being successful in this industry is way harder than you think, and it takes a lot more work than you have been made to believe. So if it takes the same amount of work to build a business that does $5,000 to $20,000 per month through sponsorships, and a business that has no limit to how much money you can make, the first one only makes sense if you have no other value to provide besides your image. The true opportunity is building a strategic personal brand and having a business-first approach to content creation. So stop making random stuff and optimizing for views and followers at any cost and focus on getting in front of the people you actually want to work with. This might sound obvious, but even the biggest names in the industry make this mistake. Alex Hormozi, for example, was asking his team to create very ADHD type of videos for him because they saw that retention goes up, views go up, and his following was growing. What's funny is that a lot of people started copying his style of editing, thinking that it must be the reason he's so successful on YouTube. Well, the thing is that Alex is a really smart businessman, and it didn't take him long to realize that he was making a mistake. And even though he was growing his following, he was not attracting his ideal audience. His videos were perfect for those people who were treating self-development as entertainment and were coming off as kind of annoying for serious entrepreneurs who wanted applicable business advice. So since then, he has completely changed his style to focus on the value he's providing rather than going viral at any cost. That's why, just like him, you should start creating content that is so good your audience can't believe it's free, and communicate it in a way that is aligned with your ideal customer. So how do you create a brand like this? The first step would be to define your value proposition. Sit down and think, what knowledge and skills do I have that people would desperately need in order to fix a problem in their lives or their businesses? I, for example, have obsessed with personal branding and social media for years now. I have been part of large teams, I have worked with smaller creators, and I have a good understanding of what works at each stage of the game. At the same time, I have mastered many of the skills needed to build a personal brand. Copywriting, videography, video editing, public speaking, sales. I've gotten to a point where I know there is no way I cannot add some sort of value to someone's personal brand. So find that one thing for yourself. The next step would be to identify your ideal customer. Yes, I said customer, not audience. As I previously mentioned, I don't think you should focus on building followers if you're building a business-first personal brand. Your main goal should be to gather leads. So think about who would benefit the most from your expertise. In my case, I know those people would be coaches, entrepreneurs, and content creators who want to build a personal brand or got stuck at some point in their journey. I know that I don't want to work with OnlyFans models, I don't want to work with TikTok dancers, and I don't want to work with influencers who are not capable of delivering real value. Once you do this, it is very clear who you're communicating to. Now that you know why you're valuable and who would benefit the most from your expertise, you can start creating content around solving your ideal customer's problems. Determine where your prospects are currently at in their journey and where they want to be. Then brainstorm all of the problems and questions they might have on their way from A to B. By using this approach, you're no longer going to need millions of followers to benefit off of your brand, but you're still going to have a strong foundation that allows for massive growth once people start recognizing you as the go-to expert in your niche. Now you're gonna say, how am I gonna make money if I give away all of my knowledge for free? And I have multiple answers for that. If you think that knowledge makes you special, you forget that even your grandma will use AI in the next 5 years. So information will no longer be valuable. Give the information for free and charge for the execution. Most people need your perspective, intuition, and real-world experience to solve their very specific problem. 2, if you're afraid of giving the information for free, you probably don't have much of it in the first place. Or you have so much of it that you now believe everything you know is common knowledge and you're downplaying the value of everything you know. If you don't know enough, learn more so you can give more. And if you have imposter syndrome, just get over it. When you're giving out a lot of value, people learn to trust you and your expertise, and they will favor you instead of other creators who only give them generic, inapplicable advice. And for the same reason, they will be more than willing to pay a premium for your services because you already help them a lot with your free content. Now, speaking of free stuff, I have put together a personal brand workbook that will help you get a lot of clarity on your unique value proposition, define your ideal client persona and brand identity, as well as structure your offer. And on top of that, I have added my content planner to help you stay organized with your short form content. You can get it for free using the link in the description. Now that you have a full picture of how your personal brand should look like, how do you create content without competing with big creators and without giving AI a chance to generate something even close to what you're doing? One of the most important qualities your personal brand should have to cut through the noise is authenticity. And I know you've heard this a million times before, but with competition being higher than ever and AI taking over the industry, the main way you'll be different is by not doing what everyone else does and by being yourself. We already talked about how copy-paste content won't help you build a brand. That's because you can't compete with the best if you copy what they're doing. Why would someone watch a cheap copy when they can watch the original? Also, you have to understand that even large creators make mistakes, and blindly copying what they're doing might sometimes do more harm than good. Bigger creators are not necessarily smarter than you. They just have a bit more experience. And still, they don't have all of the answers, so they will make mistakes. And you can't really tell if a piece of content was good because you don't have all of the metrics. You can only see the view count. You have no idea if that video brought in sales, if it grew their following, or if it led them on a wrong path like in Alex's case. So we're not going to copy other people's content. That kills our authenticity, and it's not going to fast track our way to success. What you should do instead is consume content outside of your niche and get inspiration from different creators and from different mediums, podcasts, movies, books. This way you have a larger pool of ideas and concepts you can use as inspiration. If you're only analyzing content that people in your niche are doing, you cannot stand out. That's the mistake that most people do on social media, and that's why scrolling on Instagram feels like you're watching the same video over and over again. But if you're drawing inspiration from multiple pieces of content that are both inside and outside of your niche and add your unique twist to it, people will find it very original. What you can learn from your successful competitors is how they structure their content and what topics are getting the most traction. You can study their best performing pieces of content and try to understand what about those was so appealing to a wider audience. Reverse engineering good content will help you make better original content, but copying content signals that you're incapable of coming up with something valuable yourself. And you never follow someone online when you know you can find the same content on 200 other accounts. Now, another big thing that kills your authenticity and credibility is letting AI do all of the work for you. Of course, AI is very good at synthesizing complex topics, structuring information, and brainstorming ideas, but it has no personality and it lacks real-world experience. You can definitely use it as an extension of yourself, but never take something that ChatGPT spits out and put it out into the world. I guess the easiest way to understand if you're using AI wrong is to think how much you depend on it. If you can already do most of the work by yourself at a very good level, but AI gives you a starting point on which you can elaborate using your own expertise, your own personality, and your unique perspective, then you're good. But if you can't make your content without it, that's a sign you probably need to become better at copywriting and coming up with ideas yourself. AI can help you work faster, but it won't improve the quality of your work by much if you don't already have a strong foundation. On top of that, I really don't think you should wait for AI to get good enough that it will start showing human-like qualities and start putting out perfect content by itself. And that's because I am 100% convinced of a future where we will charge a premium for AI-free products and services. Just like today we're looking for handcrafted goods and organic foods without preservatives. AI is already being abused and your audience and customers are getting tired of it. And as soon as people feel that your video scripts are ChatGPT bullshit, they're out. And don't get me wrong, I love AI, I think it's amazing. AI will help you speed things up in the backend, but at least for now, if your audience and customers feel too much of its presence, it hurts your personal brand's credibility. Now, the second thing you should focus on when building your personal brand is to build everything on a foundation of trust. As I said in the beginning, people are getting skeptical of everything they see online, and they are afraid of losing their hard-earned cash to yet another underwhelming product sold by an influencer. So the only way for you to be successful long-term is to gain their trust by providing immense value upfront, as we discussed earlier, and by giving them enough authentic content that they start feeling like they know you at a personal level. A study from Google found out that building trust with potential customers requires them to spend around 7 hours engaging with your content in order to be ready to buy from you. And I am sure that number will go up in the years to come as we're going deeper into this trust recession. So what is the best type of content that will help you build trust as fast as possible? Well, as of right now, the answer is in-depth, long-form content. YouTube videos like the one you're watching right now, live streams, free webinars, podcasts, basically anything that allows your prospects to get to know you better at a human level and gives you enough time to provide them with valuable information. Your goal is for them to go through those 7 hours of content as fast as possible. So short form would not be ideal for building trust because it would literally take 420 1-minute reels for someone to feel like they know you. And I'm not saying that short form videos are not good enough for building your personal brand. I'm just saying that you would need to nurture those leads that are coming in either by sending them to your long form content or by going ham and posting 10 to 20 talking head stories every day in order for you to become human in their eyes. Connecting with your audience on a deeper level has to be in the back of your mind at all times. Okay, so what platforms should you choose to build your personal brand? Currently, the best performing platforms in terms of conversions will be YouTube and Instagram. This will give you the best chance to build an audience and sell them a product. They both have pluses and minuses, so let's walk you through those real quick, as well as tell you what should be your strategy for each of them. YouTube is my personal favorite because it allows for in-depth, long-form content. This gives you the opportunity to showcase your expertise and connect with your audience on a deeper level. Also, as I mentioned earlier, with just a handful of long-form videos, you are building the trust necessary for people to want to buy from you. There are multiple types of videos that you can post, but not all of them bring the same results in terms of conversions. So the first winning format I recommend is a case study. Case studies are probably the best performing format for a business-first channel. This is where you break down step by step how you achieve the result that your audience wants, and it builds credibility and trust like crazy. So you basically take a client and show how you got them from A to B, or just showcase your own journey of going through a challenge. These videos are very powerful because they also have a very high chance of going viral. The downside of this format is that you actually need to do something out of the ordinary for people to care. Another format that does really well is the talking head video. These allow you to create very strong and complex arguments and present them to the camera in order to deliver as much value as possible without wasting your viewers' time. This is also something that you can pump out a lot faster as every aspect is in your control. You get to dial in your scripts to perfection and you have a lot more topics to talk about. And another format that is very popular right now is the podcast. But unlike the other ones, you have to be very careful with how you set them up because they can either convert very well or not at all. Due to the nature of the podcast, you should always have an expert guest on. And if you're the one asking the questions and the guest is the one answering them, then they are the ones getting all of the credibility, the trust, and all of the sales because the spotlight is on them. So if you want to be the one making the money, then you should A, go on someone else's podcast and position yourself as the expert, or B, turn that podcast into a case study by recording some extra commentary and valuable takeaways after the fact and adding those in between key points in the interview. In this way, your guest is no longer getting all of the attention and you keep your expert status. Another powerful feature of YouTube is that it allows you to post short-form videos. But as I said earlier, I find it harder to build trust and showcase expertise using short-form video. And people that consume short-form are most of the time looking for entertainment. They are not making a conscious decision to learn something new or fix a problem like they would with long-form videos where they physically type in their problem into the search bar. As you can see, YouTube is very powerful, but it also comes with a downside. Long-form content can be hard to make. You need to get good at script writing. You need to get good at talking in front of the camera. And if you're not able to invest money in production and post-production, you need to learn how to film your videos and how to edit them. There are a lot of skills and soft skills that you need to learn on top of your main expertise in order to do YouTube at a high level. So the barrier of entry is higher. On the other hand, I have seen people do very well with minimal production quality, but only when their expertise level is very high and they can deliver pure gold for 20 minutes in front of a whiteboard. So all in all, I would say don't get discouraged by the production quality you see on bigger channels. You don't have to get there on your first try, but in the long run, a good looking video with clean audio will help you build more trust and authority. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't need graphics flying everywhere and crazy transitions. That actually takes away from the video. Good lighting, a decent camera quality, and some tastefully executed visuals go a long way. Now, the second option for building a personal brand will be Instagram. And this platform is very different than YouTube, but it might be a lot more beginner friendly. The best way to grow here would be to post 2 reels per day if you want to have a good chance of getting in front of your desired customer. The problem that I have with Instagram and short form content in general is that unlike long form where you can focus on diving deep into a specific problem, reels are very shallow. Almost no one would go in on Instagram to search for a solution to their problems, and most of them are scrolling to be entertained. Or at least that's the case until they decide to follow you and check out your content regularly. So you have to get good at pleasing people's dopamine receptors, getting their attention in the first few seconds, and delivering a lot of value in a very short period of time. But the good thing is the barrier of entry is a lot lower because producing a short form piece of content is a lot easier than producing a long form piece of content. And also Instagram has basically everything you need to reach new people, convert them into fans, and then into clients. Reels help you get discovered, Instagram stories help you connect with your audience at a deeper level, and you can use direct messages to turn them into clients. Most of you probably understand how Instagram works by now, but I see a lot of people not taking full advantage of what the platform has to offer. Most influencers influencers grow hundreds of thousands of followers and they treat Instagram stories like a second thought, which is the number one thing that hurts their conversion rates. I like to think of Instagram stories as the place you show your audience you are a real human and give them a taste of what it's like to work with you. It's your chance to show them you exist beyond the perfection most people display on Reels. So if you're posting 1 or 2 photos or memes on your stories, you're not doing very much to gain your audience's trust and you're not letting them know you as a person. Another reason why Instagram stories are very powerful is that you can leverage them to chip away at those 7 hours of content it takes for someone to buy from you. If you're posting 2 90-second reels per day and you're adding a 5 to 10 minute discussion on your stories on top of that, your audience is now consuming 4 times more content from you, and it makes all of the difference in terms of conversions. 4 times more content for 10 minutes of extra work every day. I say that's a no-brainer. So Instagram and YouTube are the best performing platforms in terms of conversions. Now, what's important to note is that you should only pick one platform in the beginning and put all of your energy into mastering it. As you can see, YouTube and Instagram are fundamentally different and have very different requirements. So especially if you're not in a place where you can build a team to help you with your brand, juggling 2 platforms at once when you don't understand how either of them works will slow you down a lot. But when you get to a point where you can show up consistently on both of them, that's when you build a bulletproof lead generation machine and a very strong personal brand.